Okay, good morning, grade 10 students. So now that we are done with the concepts of sequences and series, we are now going to use those concepts in problem solving. So papaano nga ba ini-apply ang sequences and series in problem solving? So before we proceed with the problem solving, so let's have first a review on the different formula that we have used in the previous lessons. So yung mga formulang ito ay gagamitin natin for in problem solving. So first, balikan natin yung formula for arithmetic sequence. So the formula for arithmetic sequence is a sub n is equal to a sub 1 plus t times the quantity of n minus 1. So balikan lang natin na ang a sub n is the nth term, a sub 1 is the first term, d is the common difference, and n is the number of terms. And then the formula for geometric sequence, we have here a sub n is equal to a sub 1 times r raised to n minus 1, where r is the common difference. So you have to take note of this formula para magamit natin siya in problem solving. So aside from sequences, we also have the formula for arithmetic series and geometric series. So sa arithmetic series, so dalawa yung formulang ginamit natin. So the first formula we have here, if the last term is not given, the formula that we are going to use is s sub n is equal to n over 2 times the quantity of 2a sub 1 plus t times the quantity of n minus 1. So kapag given naman yung last term, ang gagamitin nating formula is s sub n is equal to n over 2 times the quantity of a sub 1 plus a sub n. So yun yung dalawang formula natin for arithmetic series. Then we also have the formula for geometric series. So isa lang naman yung formula ang gagamitin natin. So we have here s sub n is equal to a sub 1 times the quantity of 1 minus r raised to n all over 1 minus r. Okay, so let's start with some examples. So the first example, Marco started a new job with an annual salary of 150,000 pesos in 2007. If he a 12,000 pesos raise each year, how much will be his salary in 2017? So we have some steps or series of steps that we need to follow in solving this problem. So for step number 1, we are going to identify what kind of problem the given is. Kung ito ba ay arithmetic, geometric, kung ito ba ay series or sequence. So the problem is an arithmetic sequence problem because of the word raise. So raise here pertains to a common difference. So kumbaga magkakaroon ng raise yearly si Marco. And the problem is asking for the salary in the year 2017. So kaya din natin siya nasabi na siya ay isang sequence kasi hindi naman tinatanong kung magkano from 2007 hanggang 2017. So ang tinatanong dito ay magkano ang magiging sweldo ko pagdating ng year 2017. So ito ay assuming na ang raise talaga niya ay 12,000 every year. So hindi siya nagbabago. So for step number 2, we are going to identify the data given and its possible representation. So since problem solving tayo, of course, kailangan natin i-identify yung given data at saka ano yung possible representations for each data. So here is a table of our data. So 150,000 is our first term since nabanggit na yun yung kanyang starting annual salary in the year 2007. So nag-start siya ng 2007. And our common difference, as I have mentioned in our first step, is 12,000 kasi yun yung idadagdag sa kanyang sahod every year. And the number of terms will be the difference between 2017 and 2007. So ilang taon yung lilipas mula 2007 hanggang 2017. So yun yung number of terms. So why 2007? Kasi 2007 po ang start ng taon na siya ay mag-uumpisa. And then ang hinahanap po natin ay yung kanya magiging sahod in the year 2017. Next, for step number 3, we are going to identify and recall the formula to be used. So nalaman na natin kung ano po yung given data and kung anong uri siya ng problem. We are now going to identify kung anong formula nga ba yung gagamitin natin. So based on the given data, we can say that the number of terms or n is 10. So nabanggit ko po kanina na ang n natin will be the difference between 2017 and 2007. And the representation for his salary in 2017 will be A sub 10. So since ang n natin is 10, so A sub 10 po yung hanapin natin. And since siya ay arithmetic sequence, we're going to use the formula A sub n is equal to A sub 1 plus D times minus 1. Then for step number 4, we are going to substitute now the formula and then solve na po tayo. Ayan. So kung ano po yung ginawa natin before in solving arithmetic sequence, so yun po ulit yung gagawin natin ngayon. So by substitution, ayan, so A sub n is equal to A sub 1 plus D times n minus 1. So again, our A sub 1 is 150,000 plus D, which is 12,000, and then ang n natin is 10. So substituting or simplifying, our answer will be 258,000. So ibig sabihin, for our last step, we are going to state our final answer. So our final answer, do not forget to state your final answer. In 2017, Marco's annual salary will be 258,000. Ng 2017, ang magiging sahod ni Marco ay 258,000. Okay? So yun po yung isa example natin for arithmetic sequence. Let's have another example. So an amphitheater has 50 rows of seats with 30 seats in the first row, 32 in the second, 34 in the third, and so on. Find the seating capacity of the amphitheater. So amphitheater is it's just like a theater. Ano po? Ayan. So that is our second example. So we are going to use the same steps in solving this problem. So for step number 1, we are going to identify what kind of problem the given is. So the problem is an arithmetic series problem since there is a common difference. So paano natin na-identify na mayroong common difference? Kasi ang given po natin kanina ay 30 sa first row, 32 sa second, then 34 sa third. So we can see from given na ang common difference ay 2. And the situation is asking for the seating capacity or the total number of seats. So when we say seating capacity, so ilan kaya yung magkakasya doon sa amphitheater? That's why it is an arithmetic series problem. Next, for our step number 2, we are going to identify the data given and its possible representations. So our given data, 50 rows of seats. So yun yung ating given na number of terms. Then A sub 1, A sub 2, and A sub 3 is also given. Ayan po. Then for our third step, we're going to identify and recall the formula that we are going to use. So based on the data, we can say that the common difference is 2 since pwede nating isubtract yung second term at saka yung first term. So it will give us an answer of 2, or our common difference is 2. Representation for the seating capacity will be S sub 50. Since ito ay arithmetic series, so our representation will be S sub 50. Then recall the formula for arithmetic sequence. So since hindi po given ang ating last term, we are going to use the first formula, which is S sub n is equal to n over 2 times the quantity of 2a sub 1 plus d times n minus 1. And for our fourth step, so we are going to substitute the formula. For our fourth step, we are going to substitute to the given formula and then solve. So by substitution, we will have S sub 50 is equal to 50 over 2 times the quantity of 2 times 30 plus 2 times 50 minus 1. So our answer will be 3,950. So for our last step, we are going to state our final answer. So for our final answer, there are 3,950 seats in the amphitheater, or the the seating capacity of the amphitheater is 2,150. Ayan po. So that is our second example. Let us proceed with our third example. Our third problem. So Joanne has purchased 15 books. The first book costs 8 pesos. The second book costs 16 pesos, and the third book cost 32 pesos, and so on. So how much did Joanne pay for those 15 books, or for the 15 books that she purchased? Ayan po. So same series of steps pa rin tayo. For step number 1, we are going to identify what kind of problem the given is. And the problem is a geometric series. Since there is a common ratio, so paano natin na-identify yung common ratio? So we are going to divide lang yung second term and the first term. And it is asking for the cost of the 15 books, or yung lahat ng, yung total noong presyo ng lahat ng 15 books. Then for step number 2, we are going to identify the data given and its possible representations. So here is the given data. So based from the problem, ito po yung ating given data. So the cost of the first book is 8 pesos. So that will be our first term. And then yung second book costs 16 pesos. So that is our second term. And then ang third book natin is 32 pesos. Then yun yung ating A sub 3. And then the number of books, or our N, will be 15. And then step number 3, we are going to identify and recall the formula that we are going to use. So based on the data given, we can say that the common ratio is 2, since 16 divided by 8, or A sub 2 divided by A sub 1 is 2. And the representation cost of all 15 books will be S sub 15. And again, so nabanggit natin kanina na ang ating given problem is a geometric series problem. That's why our formula that we are going to use is S sub n is equal to A sub 1 times the quantity of 1 minus r raised to n all over 1 minus r. So for our fourth step, we are going to substitute to the formula and then solve or simplify. So by substitution, we will arrive at 8 times the quantity, S sub 15 is equal to 8 times 1 minus 2 raised to 15 all over 1 minus 2. So after solving this given, we will arrive at an answer of 262,136 pesos. And again, for our final step, we need to state our final answer. So all in all, Joanne will pay 262,136 pesos for all the 15 books. Ayan po.